As the dust settles on Dustborn, months after its release, fans still ask one question. What the hell is Dustborn? The second question fans are asking is why anyone thought this was a good idea for a game. As most know by this point, the fan reaction to this title was not very positive. Now, months removed from the launch, the CEO has finally decided to speak out in more detail. However, before we get to that, let's circle back momentarily. Dustborn is described as an action-adventure game developed by Red Thread Games. It combines narrative-driven gameplay with a unique comic book art style and focuses on a group of misfits with supernatural abilities. Players control Pax, who possesses telekinetic powers in a journey across a divided future United States. The game explores themes of propaganda, identity, and the power of words. The narrative unfolds through dialogue choices and interactions that influence the story's direction. Critics have praised its storytelling and character development, although some noted initial technical issues. Since its release, the game has sold roughly 4,000 copies. Obviously, this is not a high number. In their defense, it was never meant to be a big release. It is a small indie developer with a relatively small budget. However, since the game was hyped up so much, most thought that it would sell better. It is not the first time that a small indie game has gone on to sell millions after receiving a massive push. Sadly, despite all the efforts that large platforms like Sony and Xbox put in, people simply did not enjoy the title. While the critic reviews were high, the fan reception was more mixed. In fairness, the Steam reviews are mostly positive. Dustborn, unfortunately, made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Fans did not enjoy the message of the game. The developers did not help their cause by consistently talking about how stunning and brave they were for being inclusive in their game. Most fans simply saw it as performative. Most gamers do not mind diversity and inclusion in their video games. It has always existed in games and should continue to be in games. However, the developers who consistently want applause for it are causing fans to resist. For many, it feels performative. There are several reasons why fans decided to reject Dustborn. It is easy to look at the game and conclude that fans did not like what they deemed to be DEI. However, it does go deeper than that. You see, it is not the DEI that people are rejecting. There have been plenty of games that featured diverse characters. It is more the pandering and grandstanding from studios that is off-putting too many fans. It comes across as performative. If you create a game and all you can talk about is the race, sex, and sexual orientation of your characters, fans will reject it. All the advertising for this title focused on how brave the developers were, including people from different backgrounds. This comes across as you using certain issues as advertisements for your game. Red Thread Games is an all but exclusively white-owned studio. You will not find diversity there to save your life. This is not some small minority-owned or LGBTQ-owned studio trying to carve a path for themselves. This white-owned studio expects a standing ovation for how stunning and brave they are for the inclusion of diversity into their games. They make it a centerpiece of every interview they do. If you create a game and someone asks you to tell them why they should buy the game, and the only reason you can provide is how diverse your game is, can you blame fans for thinking you are trying to take advantage of a movement? I support inclusion in video games, but not like this. You do not get to use these social causes for profit. That, of course, is simply my opinion. You are welcome to disagree. I know that there are people who think that the intention behind the decision does not matter. All that matters is the end result. So what if the developer is white and expects you to suck him off for how brave he is for including a diverse cast? As long as diversity and inclusion exist, they are still positive. That is a fair point, but in my opinion, it just causes more hate for the people you claim to represent. Regardless of this, the CEO of the studio recently spoke out regarding the reception by stating, "It caught us completely off guard. We were very surprised by the extreme reaction to the launch, and we had no plan for how to handle it. You can easily ignore what's said on forums or on X. Emails feel a little closer to home, but receiving text messages where someone wishes you dead is unsettling." Now, to be clear, no one should be getting death threats over a video game. If that happened, then it sucks. It should never be an acceptable thing to do. If you do not like the game, keep your criticism towards the title. He went on to say, "It's been really tough to deal with this. We're used to people not liking our games, but we appreciate well-argued reviews, even if they're negative. The difference here is the massive amount of negative feedback from people who have never played the game and never will. They just jump on the bandwagon of those making videos. The CEO also decided to address the politics and social issues included in the game, stating that he did not expect such a strong reaction. He said, "We just wanted to make a game with characters that are different. We didn't think it would be so controversial that a group would fight against a fascist regime. I don't think many people want to live in a police state, and our version of the US is by no means the real America." The use of pronouns has become relatively established in games, and we knew people could react to that. But it was the reality we wanted to present. We don't feel we've made a game that's primarily about politics. It's more about language and relationships between people. At the end of the day, this title was always going to face an uphill battle. Despite getting a massive push from Sony and Xbox, being the main headline showcase for many of their events, they simply could not capitalize. The last time I checked, they had a concurrent player base of 5. Sadly, I do not see that number going up anytime soon.